وقل رب زدني علما.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Welcome everyone. أهلا وسهلا بكم. Welcome to today's class. And today inshallah ta'ala, this is the 12th class if I'm not mistaken. And we will be talking about Al-Ibtidaa, which originally was part of Module 3, but in hindsight I decided to bring it forward and make it part of Module 2, mainly because of its connection to Hamzatul Wasl. Because Module 3 was about connected speech, and Al-Ibtidaa is sort of part of connected speech. It's about when you start a new ayah, or when you start reciting, how do you recite? And then you have another rule called Al-Waqf, when you stop, how do you stop? So in that way, it's connected to Al-Waqf, which is the main thing. Okay, so we said, even though today's lesson is connected to connected speech, because it's about starting Al-Ibtidaa, which is connected to Al-Waqf, stopping or pausing, the fact that Al-Ibtidaa, or the rules of Ibtidaa, are only related to Hamzatul Wasl, I decided to bring it forward and teach it along with Hamzatul Wasl. And of course, once we start the class, then it will become clear what I mean. Okay? طيب ممتاز. Okay, so let's watch the video and I'll explain it. Here we have today's video. Okay, let me send the link to WooClap, by the way, so that when I want to ask questions, everybody can take part. Okay, you'll find the link in the chat. I'll post it on the channel as well. Alright, let's start the video. طيب, Bismillah. Al-Ibtidaa, which means, like we said, it means starting. Okay? Let's start with these two ayat and look at how it's recited. So these are two ayat from the second juz and the first juz. If you start from Rabbin Nas, or the 29th and 30th. First one, we have Al-Haqqatu Mal-Haqqa. Okay? And obviously, what I want you to pay attention to is the Hamzatul Wasl over here and the Hamzatul Wasl over here. That's what I want you to pay attention to. Alright, let's read the next one. And this one I'm sure most of you are familiar with. طبعا here what happened is, this Hamzatul Wasl, we didn't pronounce it. This did exactly what we learned last time, which is, it facilitated the connecting between the two words. So, instead of Ma al-Haqqa, it became Mal-Haqqa. Mal-Haqqa, connected. Same thing applies to this ayah, or these two ayat. Al-Qari'atu Mal-Qari'ah. Okay? What did we do again? We didn't pronounce this Hamzatul Wasl. This you are familiar with. This is what we've done last lesson. However, today it's about Al-Ibtidaa. It's about starting. This Hamzatul Wasl, we didn't start on this Hamzatul Wasl. Rather, we had one word here, another word here. We joined the two words. Hamzatul Wasl it is as if it's not there. Okay? However, this Hamzatul Wasl over here is different. Why? Because we are starting with it. Al-Ibtidaa. We are starting with this Hamzatul Wasl. So, what do we say? We say Al-Qari'ah. We say Al-Haqqa. Okay, and that brings us to our first rule, which is, or the first question that we ask. Does it start with Al or Alif Lam? That's the first question that we ask. When it comes to starting with Hamzatul Wasl. Does it start with Alif Lam? Alif Lam or Al in Arabic language, it means the. It is the definite article. So you can have any word in the Arabic language, put Al in front of it, and now it's a specific definite noun. Right? So you have, for example, Kitab, which means a book or any book. Put Al in front of it. Al-Kitab, it means the book. Bayt means house, any house. Put Al in front of it. Al-Bayt, the house. Okay? So if it is that you have Hamzatul Wasl, followed by a lam, which makes it a definite article, yes, so you have then if that's the case, then what do? We pronounce a fatha. Pretty straightforward, okay? Just like we done a minute ago. We pronounce a fatha. Al-Qari'ah, Al-Haqqa. But what if it doesn't start with Alif Lam? What if you have Hamzatul Wasl followed by another letter other than Lam? Okay, this is now where we have to learn something new. Okay, the L you might have been familiar with so far. That's how we were doing things. Every time we see Hamzatul Wasl, we were saying L, L, L. But now, what if you have a word, it's not L, it's not the definite article. What do? Now there are three possibilities. Okay, and there are three possibilities in terms of the third letter. We look at the third letter. That's the first thing. We look at what? The third letter. Why do we look at the third letter? I'll tell you why. Number one, the first letter is the Hamzatul Wasl. Okay, so obviously that's the subject here. We're trying to figure out what harakah to give to Hamzatul Wasl. So we said the first letter, Hamzatul Wasl. Okay, how about the second letter? Why not look at the second letter? Because the second letter, or the letter that comes after Hamzatul Wasl, always has a sukoon. This is a rule. Automatically. Whatever comes after Hamzatul Wasl is going to have a sukoon. 100%. There's no way around it. Okay? That's how it is. If it wasn't for that fact, we wouldn't have Hamzatul Wasl to start with. We only have Hamzatul Wasl because the letter with sukoon needs a vowel. So Hamzatul Wasl comes to the rescue. Hamzatul Wasl now, it provides the vowel that we can then use to pronounce the second letter. Okay, so that's what Hamzatul Wasl does. So the second letter is going to have a sukoon. So that's why we look at the third letter. What do I mean by that? It will become clear with these examples. So example number one, we have if the third letter has a dhamma. If the third letter has what? A dhamma. What do? Then we pronounce a dhamma. Okay, pretty straightforward. The third letter has a dhamma, Hamzatul Wasl becomes a dhamma. For example, this word, udkhuluha. Udkhuluha. Why did I say udkhuluha? Why did I not say adkhuluha or idkhuluha? In other words, this Hamzatul Wasl over here, it doesn't have a vowel, it doesn't have fatha, kasra, dhamma. Why did I give it a dhamma? Because the third letter has a dhamma. The third letter, this one. So Hamzatul Wasl is the first letter. This dal over here is going to have a sukoon because it comes after Hamzatul Wasl. We look at the third one. It has a dhamma, we give this one a dhamma. Okay, another example. Ushdud. Ushdud. Why ushdud? Because the third letter is a dhamma. Okay, what if the vowel on the third letter is a kasra? What do? Okay, yes, we do the same thing. We pronounce a kasra. We pronounce a kasra. So we have ihdina. All of you are familiar with this. Ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim. Ihdina. Why don't we say ahdina? Why don't we say uhdina? Why? Because the third letter has a kasra, so we give the Hamzatul Wasl also a kasra. Okay? طيب. Another example. Irji'i. Irji'i ila rabbiki radiyatan mardiyah. Irji'i. Why do we say irji'i, not arji'i or urji'i? Because of the fact that the third letter has a kasra. Now this leaves us with the last possibility, which is if the third letter has a fatha. And the third letter is going to have a vowel, 100%. Second letter is going to have a sukoon, and the one after that is going to have a vowel, right? So this one, the fatha one, let's ask that on wuklab. Okay, so what do we pronounce if third letter has fatha? So obviously those of you that know it, you know it. For those of you that don't know it, I want you to think carefully about this answer. Okay, so the question is there on wuklab. Okay, so here, what the question is, what do we pronounce if the third letter has a fatha? طبعا, there's one of three possibilities. We can pronounce a fatha, or a kasra, or a dhamma. Okay, we got those three possibilities. طيب, what are the answers? Let's find out. One person said dhamma, one person said kasra, one person said fatha, one person said hamza. Hamza is not a vowel. I can't pronounce hamza. It's hamzatul wasl, I know. But which vowel do we give it? Fatha, kasra, or dhamma? We only have those three possibilities. Okay? So inshallah, I want you to like the answers if you can. The one that you think is correct. So we have here 4 answers. We have fatha, kasra, dhamma, hamza. Okay, hamza we said already is wrong. Okay, so mashallah, most of you have gone with fatha. One person went with kasra. Seems like most of you think the answer is fatha. Okay? طيب, no problem. Let's find out the answer. Okay, so the logical thing so far, if we follow the pattern, and that's what most of you have done. Most of you followed the pattern. Dhamma, give dhamma. Kasra, third letter, give kasra. Third letter is fatha, give fatha. Most of you follow the pattern. So do we pronounce a fatha if the third letter? No. Why don't we? Because the fatha is already taken. The fatha is already taken by what? By the alif lam. Al. Fatha is reserved for al. Okay? So fatha can't be taken. We can't do fatha. Okay? Alright, now since we can't do fatha, question is, what do we do then? Kasra or dhamma? Now go back to WooClap and change your likes. Okay? One person liked dhamma now. Okay, so I want the likes on fatha to become 0. Take that back. And I want you to like either kasra or dhamma. Fatha is wrong. Okay? So we have 2 people went for dhamma and most of you went for kasra. Okay. Now I wonder, why did you go for the kasra? Huh? And not the dhamma? It's actually pretty easy. Okay, because fatha and kasra, they're brothers and sisters. That's why they kind of like look the same. Okay, and you'll find that in the Arabic language, fatha and kasra, they got this relationship, right? Whereby they can take each other's place and what have you. They're much more closely related to each other than the dhamma. That's why the dhamma looks way different. Okay? So yes, that is the correct answer. We give it a kasra. We give it a kasra. So let's look at some of the examples. So we have this word that most of you, if not all of you, are familiar with. Okay? The word that says read. The first word that was revealed in the Quran. The first word that was revealed in the Quran. Iqra. And it is the word that we are trying to, it's the first command in the Quran that Allah has revealed from Angel Jibreel to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it is this word and this command we are here today gathered in order to fulfill that command, in order to perfect that command, which is Iqra, to read. That's why we're here today. We are working on establishing and perfecting and applying this command in the Quran. The first command that was revealed in the Quran, the first word that was revealed in the Quran. Iqra, read. Alhamdulillah, that's what we're doing right now. So we said Iqra. We didn't say Aqra. We didn't say Uqra. Iqra. So why do we say Iqra? Any of you that came across this word before, you will notice there's Hamzatul Wasl there. There is no Fatha, Kasra or Dhamma. So how do we come to the conclusion that we should say Iqra? Because of this rule. Okay? Third letter is Fatha, you give it Kasra. So Kasra, we've been using it twice so far. Another example, Idhab, which means go. Idhab. We don't say Adhab. Idhab. When it's a command with Hamzatul Wasl, we say Idhab. And for you to say Adhab, that would be a completely different meaning. Adhab means I go. Idhab means go. It's a command. One of them is a command, one of them is a statement. Adhab, I am going. Idhab, you go. Okay, so there's a massive difference between those. That basically is the conclusion of what's related to Al-Ibtidaa. There is no other rule when it comes to Al-Ibtidaa. That's the only one. Yes, that's relevant to us. Which is, whenever I'm starting to read something, okay, what do I start with? If I see Hamzatul Wasl. طبعا, All the other situations, the first letter is going to have a fatha, kasra, dhamma. You don't have that problem. You only have that problem when you're starting with hamzatul wasl. When you're starting with hamzatul wasl, now you're in trouble. You don't know what to do. Do I give it fatha, kasra, or dhamma? You follow these rules. For the rest, any word you come across in the Quran, the first letter is going to have a fatha, kasra, or dhamma. You'd have no problem with starting reading, other than hamzatul wasl. Hamzatul wasl, you come across it, you have to ask yourself these questions. Number one, is it al, as in the? If it is, just say al, no problem. Al-kitab, al-qalam, what have you. If it's not al, second letter is not a lam, okay, then what do? If it's dhamma, give it dhamma. If it's kasra, yani the third letter, then give it kasra. If it's fatha, that's the only contentious one, the only one that might cause you some confusion. If it's fatha, give it kasra. Why? Because fatha is already taken by the al. Okay? I hope that's clear, inshallah. Anyone have any questions before we continue with some of the practice exercises? Examples. Okay, طيب. خلاص, we'll give examples now. We'll go onto the website and read some. بإذن to give more examples. Now this, we talked about today, it relates to the Medina Mus'haf, to the Mus'haf al-Madinah. Those of you that read the Indo-Pak version, then as far as I'm aware, they actually put a haraka on the, on the Hamzatul Wasl, okay, which can cause a major problem, okay, that can cause a major problem. Why? Because Hamzatul Wasl, we don't add harakat to it. Why don't we? Let me ask that question actually, right? Why is it a bad idea to put a vowel on Hamzatul Wasl? Why is it a bad idea to just put the vowel on Hamzatul Wasl, like they do in the Indo-Pak version? It's a bad idea. Okay? Anybody know why? Okay? It kind of like goes against the essence of Hamzatul Wasl to put a vowel on it. No, not innovation. Okay, one of you said innovation. No, there's no innovation involved here. And the reason there's no innovation involved is because all of this is not part of the legislation that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with. This is just part of making it easy for the people to read. So in these kind of matters, people can differ. It's fine. It's just the implementation of the Quranic script is not something that took place at the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Yes, some of the Arabs used to write and stuff, but there was no fatha, no kasra, no dhamma. All of this didn't exist. This was introduced later on to make it easier for people to read the Quran. So it's not related to innovation whatsoever, because this is not something related to the deen that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ came with, in of itself. It's just a tool. It's like the microphone that we use in the planes that we fly. It's just a tool to make things easier. Okay? This Quranic script. There's a vowel on the alif. Can change meaning of following word? No. Because it's don't start with Hamzatul Wasl? No. Because Hamza is not a letter. Well, Hamza is a letter. Hamzatul Qata', Hamzatul Wasl's brother or sister, if you like, is a letter. It is a consonant, a letter from the Arabic alphabet. So why wouldn't Hamzatul Wasl be if they are related in that sense? It actually isn't. It's not a consonant, that's true. But Hamzatul Wasl is kind of like a substitute for Hamzatul Qata'. There's a reason why we're not using Hamzatul Qata'. If we could have used the normal Hamza, we would have used it. But there's a reason why we decided not to use the normal Hamza and to introduce this Hamzatul Wasl instead. And it's because of the reason that we want to connect. Hamzatul Wasl is there to connect. That's its job. Okay? Now when you add a vowel to it, you are breaking the connection. At least for those people that don't know. Because they'll end up pronouncing the vowel. Okay? So Hamzatul Wasl, its main job is to connect. Its main job is just to be there and be ignored. It only comes into play and it only comes to the rescue when you want to start with that word. And there's no word before it which you can borrow the vowel from. There's no word before it that you can connect that vowel to this new word. That's what Hamzatul Wasl says, okay, it's time for me now to go to work. Okay? Yalla, you can utilize me now. Give me whatever haraka that you need to give me. Look at the third letter, go and ask him. Yes, if he's a dhamma, then give me a dhamma. If it's a kasra, give me kasra. If it's a fatha, then give me a kasra. That's what Hamzatul Wasl says when you want to start on it. But if you're not starting on it and you're connecting your speech and you're connecting the words, Hamzatul Wasl says, please ignore me. I'm not here. So when you put a fatha on it, yes, to try and make it easy for those that want to start on Hamzatul Wasl, you are actually messing things up for the one that wants to connect it, because he's going to end up pronouncing the fatha. I'll give you an example. Let's see. First, let's go to settings. Change it to Indo-Pak. Okay. And then let's look for Ayatul Kursi. There we go. Ayatul Kursi over here, okay? Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. I mean, I've seen this before, I'm not sure. It's going to be here as well. Let me see if I can find it. Inna huwal hayyul. Okay, it's not, I can't see it here. Maybe it was that one, that particular one that I had seen. I remember, for example, I mean, you can't see it here. Let me show you. Here we have Allahu la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum. Right? Huwal hayyul qayyum. Now, if we were to put a fatha here on al-hayy, yes? So that if you were to start on this word, yes? That you could say al-hayy. Then what would happen? Then people would say Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy. That's what they would say. They wouldn't join it. They would actually pronounce the fatha. And I had seen that somewhere. 1 minute. Okay. La ikraha fi ddin. No, it's not here. No, it's not here. Okay, alhamdulillah, that's good. Anyway, a point I'm trying to say is Hamzatul Wasl, it's a bad idea to put a vowel on it if you come across it. I remember coming across it once before, but this version or this one they've uploaded to this website, that's not the case. I don't have an Indo-Pak version. Maybe that particular one maybe had that problem. And it's not all of the Indo-Pak versions. I'm sure there are different, if you like, organizations that print it. But generally speaking, regardless if you find it or not, there's a reason why we don't give a haraka or we don't put a vowel Hamzatul Wasl. And the reason is that Hamzatul Wasl is meant to facilitate connection. And if you were to add a vowel to Hamzatul Wasl, people would end up pronouncing that vowel and that would break the connection. Okay, that would break the connection. And that would beat the whole purpose of using Hamzatul Wasl to start off with. Okay? So Hamzatul Wasl, its job is what? To facilitate you connecting these words by not having a vowel in of itself. Right. Let's do some practice then. Okay, bismillah. If you're confused, no problem, inshallah. I'll show you what I mean with some examples, okay? Okay, here for example we have, let's do a surah that most of you haven't memorized. There's the Surah Fatir like last time. Surah Fatir, okay. Okay, for example, let's start with this word over here, okay? What do we say? We say Alhamdu. We say Alhamdu. Why do we say Alhamdu? We have Hamzatul Wasl over here followed by a lam, so it becomes Alhamdu. Okay? Tayyib? Is that clear? Okay. Then we have, actually I've got a document, I think, with just examples for Hamzatul Wasl. One moment. Let me find that document to make it easier. Yeah, perfect. Here we go. Okay. طيب, let's practice with these words. Okay, here we have a word. How would you pronounce this word? If any of the brothers want to try it. Okay, why is it pronounced alhamdu when the third letter has a fatha? Because it has a lam. That was the first question. Okay, let's go back to the video. Right. Let's check the overview of the video once again. Let's go towards the end. See if I can pause it right at the end. Okay, 1 minute. Alright, so we said the first question that you ask is what? Does it have a lam? Yes or no? Let's pause there. Okay, so it starts with a L. Does it start with L? If the answer is yes, you pronounce a fatha. That's why we said alhamdu. If it doesn't start with L, then, and the answer is no, then we apply these rules, which is dhamma for dhamma, kasra for kasra, and kasra for fatha. Okay, let's do some practice, inshallah, it'll become clear. Okay, so here we have this word over here. Oh, video not showing. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. Alright, yeah. Yeah, we said, does it start with alif lam? L. Answer yes, pronounce fatha. Okay? If the answer is no, so if this one starts with L, pronounce fatha, is alhamdu. Alhamdu. Alif lam. Al. The. Alhamdu. Okay? Alright. If it doesn't start with L, no. Then we apply what we learned. Dhamma for dhamma, kasra for kasra, and kasra for fatha. Look by looking at the third letter. Okay? Let's do some practice. Right. Here we have a word. Anybody wants to have a go? How do you pronounce this? Okay. Usmu. Okay. طيب. I don't even know why I started with this word, to be honest. This is an exception to the rule. I need to get rid of this word. This is actually ismu is an exception to the rule. The exception to the rule in the Arabic language, I think there are 12 words. Let's ignore that. Let's go to this one. I don't know why I put that word over there. Yes, let's go to this one. How do you say this one? Ignore the previous word. How do we say this one? Okay, so do we say, let's do it on wu clap. Okay, so the question on wu clap is going to be what? Do we pronounce fatha, kasra, or dhamma? Okay? Okay. So what vowel do we pronounce on the hamzatul wasl? Okay, answer is either fatha, okay, or kasra, or dhamma. You could do one of those three. Okay, and you will have 30 seconds. Okay, now all of you go back to wu clap, and with regards to this first question, do you pronounce fatha, kasra, or dhamma? Okay, fatha, kasra, or dhamma, this word over here. We'll do it one by one. Right now we're dealing with this one. Fatha, kasra, or dhamma. In other words, is it a'dhan, i'dhan, or u'dhan? Okay? The question is up on wu clap. Okay, so basically we have 76% of you got it right. We say kasra. What do we say? I'dhan. I'dhan, we pronounce a kasra. Why do we pronounce a kasra? It's not a alif, it's not a lam to start with for us to give it fatha. Okay? And the third letter is a fatha. So if the third letter is fatha, we said we give it kasra. Okay, okay, next one. How about this one? This word. Okay, let me ask that question again on WooClap. 1 second. Okay, what vowel do we pronounce on the Hamzatul Wasl? Do we say أجعل, اجعل, or أجعل? Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? Okay, so we have the vast majority of you said Fatha, Kasra, which is correct. Okay, we do not say Fatha. The reason we don't say Fatha is because Fatha is reserved for Al. Hamzatul Wasl followed by Lam. Okay? طيب, ممتاز. Let's go to another word. This word over here. What do we pronounce for this word over here? Let me put down WooClap. Okay, what do we say? Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? The question is up on WooClap. Okay, so we have, once again, okay, so again we have some differences here. One person said Fatha. No, it's not Fatha. One person said Kasra. No. The correct answer is Dhamma. Why is that the case? Because the third letter is Dhamma. Uhkum. Uhkum. Okay? Yalla. Another example. This word over here. What do we pronounce? Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? One minute. Where did it go? Yeah, there we go. Do we say Arkab, Irkab, or Urkab? Okay, Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma. Inshallah, I think soon we'll have 100%, everybody will get it right. It's not that difficult. Now it seems like you're getting the hang of it, mashallah. Can't see the word? The word is up. That's the word. I think everybody else can see it, sah? Okay, yes, so mashallah. Allahumma barik. 100% of you got it right. So alhamdulillah, seems like we are starting to get the hang of it. Sah? Mumtaz. Okay, let's do another one. How about this word? This word over here. Is it? Let me put the question up on WooClap again. One minute. There we go. Okay. Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? This word. Fatha, Kasra, or Dhamma? Adrib, idrib, or udrib? Okay, so we have one person that said Fatha, but most of you got it right, you said Kasra. Okay, Ahsantum. So mashallah, it seems like we're making progress. Good. Okay, how about this word? How about this one? 1 second. Let's duplicate this one. Okay, go ahead. It's on. WooClap. Is it? There you go. There's the word. Anzur, unzur, or inzur. Okay, let me give it some more time. Okay. I mean, most of you got it right, alhamdulillah. Most of you got it right. Okay. Unzur. Ahsantum. Okay, Ahsantum. طيب ممتاز. Let's do one more. How about this one? How about this one? What do we say? This word. أنقص, انقص or أنقص. فتحة كسرة or ضمة. Okay. طيب alhamdulillah. يعني based on the results so far, seems like the vast majority of you seem to have got the hang of this. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. As you can see, everyone, it's pretty straightforward. I know it's a bit challenging at the beginning because of the many different possibilities, or if you like that tree that we have to follow, the yes or the no. But inshallah, once you practice a bit more, it's actually pretty straightforward. And alhamdulillah, now being equipped with that, with what we've learned today, you can definitely now go ahead and benefit from that website, Recite the Quran, and read any word. Okay, last time I remember I said you can read any word by itself, but I figured out that actually this is something that will come up when you're reading a word. So alhamdu, you wouldn't be able to know it's alhamdu without today's lesson. Likewise, to find another example here, and to be honest, hamzatul wasl not followed by alif lam is very rare in the Quran. It's not something that can be easily found. When we look at this page, I can't find any examples. Let's go to the next page and see if we can find something. Okay, a hamzatul wasl does not followed by alif and lam. Not easy to find. Not easy to find. So you can find all of them here. All the hamzatul wasls are alif lam. Allah, al-umur, an-nas, Allah again, al-haya, all of this is alif lam. Ad-dunya, okay, alif lam. Hamzatul wasl followed by lam. This is the vast majority of hamzatul wasl. For you to find the hamzatul wasl does not followed by alif lam, it's not easy. It's not easy. طيب, let's see if we can find it on the second page. Al-rih, no. Al-ard, no. Al-nushur, again alif lam. Al-izzah, al-amal, al-salih, al-ladhina, al-sayyiat. All of these are alif lam. Okay, طيب, let's go to the next page. Someone said third line on the previous page. Let me double check. Third line. يغرنكم بالله الغرور إن الشيطان لكم عدو. Yeah, you have this one over here, فاتخذوه. However, you wouldn't say the fa by itself. The fa is a prefix joined to the word. If it wasn't for the fa, we would have said اتخذوه. Okay, اتخذوه. Why? Because it's followed by fatha. The third letter is a fatha. And this one is actually quite interesting as well. If we take this word, I'm not sure if I can copy it.
فاتخذوه.
Let's see if we can save the image and make it bigger. No. Okay. Let me see if I can. I hope you can see it. It seems quite a bit small. But here, this word, فَاتَّخِ, this word over here. Right? There's something interesting about this word. Who notices it? It's actually something quite interesting about this word. It basically is. Okay, let me copy it. Or let me type it in Word. So we're gonna write this word without the fa, without the fa. Okay, let me share the screen. Okay, so let's write that word without the fa. We have alif. I don't think it's on my keyboard. Is it? No, it's not on the keyboard, so finding it is going to be difficult. So let's write, this is hamzatul wasl. Imagine it's hamzatul wasl like this. Kha, kasra. Okay, this is what we have, right? So we didn't write the fa. There it says فَاتَّخِذُوهُ. We join it, صح? But let's get rid of the fa. Let's take this word, اتَّخِذُوهُ. Now there's something pretty interesting about this. Okay, who can notice it? There's something pretty interesting about this. Who can tell us? The shadda, na'am. The shadda. Because what did we say? We said the third letter. صح? So now, is it اتَّخِذُوهُ because the third letter is a fatha? Or is it اتخذوه because the third letter is a kasra? Okay? What do you think? Huh? Is it اتخذوه? يعني what is the third letter anyway? Let me ask you that on 𝐬𝐬𝐽. Let's ask on 𝐬𝐬𝐽. So what is the third letter in this example? I want you to write down the third letter, what it actually is. Obviously we have the ta or a kha. Is it ta or is it kha? The third letter. Okay, let me put that as a multiple choice. Sorry, probably ba. There's only two options here that we have, which is ta or kha. Let me put that as a, what's the third example? Either let's say ta or say kha. Okay. So what is it? Ta or kha? You can vote now on 𝐬𝐬𝐽. Okay, so just over 50% of you said ta, and 44% of you said kha. Okay, a few more said ta, increased. طيب. Okay, ممتاز. Anyway, the correct answer is that it's a ta. The third letter here is a ta. Why is that the case? Because of the shadda. These are two tas, if you like. The shadda, if we rewrite the shadda, we would have what? Two tas. A ta with sukun and a ta with fatha. صح ولا لا? You know, these rules that you learn in this course, they accumulate. Okay? One rule, the rules that we learned, they apply to everything. One of the rules that we learned is that shadda is a double letter, double consonant. If shadda is double consonant, that gives us two letters. A ta with sukun and a ta with fatha. Based on that, what is the third letter? The third letter here is a ta. It's not a kha. The kha is not the third letter. Okay? Just because you can't see two tas doesn't mean there are no two tas. There are two tas here. And remember this, because this shadda rule is going to come back so many times, especially when we start connected speech. Okay? So this example now that we came across is actually quite interesting in that regard. And this is probably something that I have to add to the examples and the exercises. Okay? So here we have ta being the third letter. And what does he have? Fatha. We say اتخذوه. I agree that it wouldn't change anyway the way you pronounce, because either way it would be kasra. Fatha or kasra, it would still be a kasra. But what if the fourth letter was a dhamma? Then you would make a mistake if you thought that this letter over here is actually the third letter, because you overlooked the shadda. Okay? So please remember at all times, shadda, double consonant. There are two letters there, even though they're not written there both. Okay? طيب. ممتاز. So those of you that figured out that was ta, well done. Okay? So that was an example. فَاتَّخِذُوهُ. But we said, because of the fa being a prefix, we can't really use the example. Because we can't say fa and then اتَّخِذُوهُ. It's a prefix. Prefix is fixed to the word. We can't separate it when we're reading. So let's try to continue our search for an example in Surah Al-Fatir. وما يستوي البحران هذا عذب فائس وهذا ملح أجاج. And this obviously it proves what I said earlier, which is the vast majority of Hamzatul Wasl is followed by a lam most of the time. Okay, we're here now on the 4th page and we still can't find. And oh, I found one. No, I haven't. Okay, let's continue. Mustajab. There we go. We found one here. This one over here, this word. How do we read this word? Okay? How do we read this word? Do we say astajabu? Do we say istajabu? Or do we say ustajabu? That's if we were to start here, obviously. Okay? Then the answer is
istajabu.
Istajabu. Okay, so alhamdulillah, on this website you can practice yourself and then you can test yourself, you can listen to the correct answer. Istajabu. But obviously we will most likely be joining the two words anyway. Yani, for the most part, you would only be starting off with the Hamzatul Wasl normally if it's either at the beginning of the ayah, or if it's a long ayah and you need to stop somewhere in the middle. Okay, that's normally the way it happens. Yes, if it's at the beginning of the ayah, the Hamzatul Wasl, or if it's a long ayah and you paused before this word and then you continued with that word without Hamzatul Wasl. But this ayah over here, we wouldn't say istajabu. Instead, we would be joining it. We would say in tad'uuhum la yasma'u du'aakum wa law sami'u mastajabu lakum. Any questions? Beyond that, I'm done for today's lesson. Question about the fa. 1 minute. Can you discuss the fa being a prefix again to the last word? I didn't understand what you meant. What I meant is that fa, it was connected to the word as in fattakhiduhu. We can't say fa separately and then say ittakhiduhu separately. Fa was a prefix, it's part of the word. Even though there's normally two separate words, ittakhiduhu and fa, there's more a linguistic thing to do with Arabic language. So you can ignore that if you like. Okay? But that's why some of you said, check the third line, Ustad, you got an example there, but I remember jumping the example because of the fact that fa is there as a prefix, which means we have to join it, which means we can't start on Hamzatul Wasl. Okay? When is Quran Arabic language learning due to start? Yeah, so the Quranic Arabic course, it's probably going to start after we do the Tajweed course. Not to mention that this particular term at university is quite busy for me. So it's looking at maybe 2 to 3 months from now, probably after my exams. So I would say, to be more realistic, I would say 3 months, inshallah. There's another course we're going to start before that, a conversational Arabic course. Those of you that on the form, you said you're interested, you'll receive an email inshallah very soon. But the Quranic Arabic course, then that one still needs some work definitely, and once I launch it, I want to launch it in a good way. So I think with my studies, this term is particularly busy, and then next term I'm going to start with my dissertation, which gives me more flexibility and more time. Okay, so probably it's going to be January onwards, most likely. I don't think any time before that. Before that, we'll finish off the Quranic reading course. We'll start hopefully Tajweed course as well, and conversational Arabic. So those 3 courses are in the pipeline. My settings on this page to show you, I go to display, make sure you select Tajweed colored letters. They will give you the colored letters and the ability to click on Hamzatul Wasl. And I also choose continuous layout instead of verse by verse. That gives you the whole page. Okay? These are the ones, settings are not important because I'm not listening to it. If you wanted to listen to the whole ayah, then you would come here and select Ali al-Hudayfi. Okay? And then make sure whatever you select, you click apply changes at the end. So that way you can read it word by word. When you're done with the whole ayah, you can click over here, press the play button. Then you can listen to the whole ayah. My advice is try and go for those surahs that you haven't memorized, number 1. Yes, so that you don't end up reading from memory. And number 2, look for surahs that are closer towards the end of the Quran because the ayahs are smaller. If the ayah gets too long, then it takes too long before you get to listen to the reciter reading the whole ayah. So try to do those surahs which have smaller ayat. So Surah Al-Safat, for example, very small ayat. وَالصَّافَاتِ صَفَّا فَالزَّاجِرَاتِ زَجْرًا, they're generally small. So you can read these 2 words and then you can listen to the reciter. When you're done, you listen to the reciter. Okay, then you recite this. Inna. Double check. Then you recite this one to yourself. Ilahakum, and then double check.
Ilahakum.
Then you would recite this one to yourself. Lawahid. Then after that, you can just click this button over here on the play button, listen to the whole ayah. Okay. The difference here is going to be that you right now are reading things word by word, but the reciter is going to read all of it connected. Okay, that's the difference. So this will be Rabbu, this will be As-Samawati. That's how you would read it. If you want to learn Hamzatul Wasl, how to pronounce it or how to join it, press the Hamzatul Wasl button over here.
Rabbu Samawati.
And we'll join them together. When you at the end of the ayah, just click this button.
رب السماوات والأرض وما بينهما ورب المشارق.
Barakallah feekum, inshallah. The more time you spend on on that website, this website Recite Quran, the more time you spend on it, the more time that you read, inshallah, the more accurate and the more fluent you will get. Okay. Why isn't it lawahidun? You said, I think, lawahid. That's what we're going to learn in module 3, inshallah. I said lawahid because I stopped there. Inshallah, that's for module 3. We're going to learn that in module 3, inshallah. Right now, you're reading word by word. Here, listen to, when you click just on the word, look how he pronounces it.
لواحد.
Okay? Actually, you should be saying lawahidun, to be honest. But
ذكرى.
he's saying lawahid as well because it's the last word in the ayah. But let's go for this one, for example. Let's look at another one. I don't think I can find an example here because the ayat are very short. But generally speaking, lawahidun and lawahid is something we learn in module 3. It's the same reason that you say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. You don't say Alamina. Okay? Just to give it away. Okay? So we end and we stop with a sukoon. We're going to cover that in the 3rd module. Barakallahu feekum. طيب هذا والله أعلم. صلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد. Inshallah, I'll see all of you on, actually not Saturday. Yeah, inshallah, I'll see you on Saturday, inshallah. Alright, barakallahu feekum.